the veil of shadows, long before the whispers of war, before blood stained the fields and fire touched the skies, there was a man named Renji. To the world, he was kindness made flesh. His smile was soft, his voice carried calm, and his eyes, though strangely deep, seemed filled with understanding. The villagers adored him. They spoke of him as though he were blessed by the heavens. And Isla, a young woman of quiet strength, believed him more than anyone else. She gave him her heart, her trust, and her hand in marriage. To her, Renji was not just a husband, but a promise of peace in a world that too often knew only loss. But masks, no matter how carefully worn, always crack. One night, when the air was heavy with silence, Isla awoke to sounds seeping from beneath the floor, whispers too unnatural to belong to men. Lantern in hand, she followed the voices into the basement. What she found there shattered her world. Renji knelt in the darkness, his body wreathed in black fire. Chains of living shadow writhed across the stone floor like serpents, binding unseen figures that screamed without sound. His hands traced symbols in the air, each one pulsing with dreadful light. His eyes lifted, and they were no longer human. Crimson, endless, hungering. Isla staggered back, her breath caught in her throat. The man she loved, the man she married, was no man at all. She ran. She tried to flee the house, to escape the lie she had been living, but Renji was faster. His shadow stretched across the floor, wrapping around her ankles like iron chains. His voice, once tender, now rang with cold authority. "You saw too much." Isla's vision blurred as his power overwhelmed her. Darkness seeped into her mind, and the world slipped away. When she awoke, the gentle air of her village was gone. Instead, she found herself in a fortress of stone, buried deep within the wilderness. The walls were damp, the corridors endless, and no sound of life reached her ears. Renji's presence lingered everywhere, suffocating. He told her this would be her prison, that she would belong only to him, forever. But Renji had miscalculated, for Ayla too carried a secret. Hidden within her blood was an ancient gift, the power of teleportation, passed down through her lineage. Weak from his hypnosis but not broken, she gathered what strength remained. Light burst around her body, and in an instant, she vanished from his grasp. Renji's shadows clutched at the empty air. The fortress groaned as his rage shook its foundations, but Ayla was gone. She returned to her village, trembling but unyielding. There, before the elders and the people who once adored Renji, she spoke the truth. The man they grazed was a monster in disguise, a deceiver who sought dominion, not peace. Her words ignited fury and fear alike. Yet under her resolve, the villagers gathered their courage. Blacksmiths forged weapons, warriors trained by torchlight, and a small army rose, not to conquer, but to reclaim their freedom. Under Isla's command, they marched into the storm. Thunder growled across the skies as Renji's fortress came into view. His power pulsed like a heartbeat through the land itself. Shadows rose from the ground to meet the villagers' blades. The clash was deafening. Steel against darkness, courage against despair. Atop the fortress, Renji stood like a figure carved from the storm itself. His eyes burned, his voice echoed, and his power threatened to devour everything. Yet Ayla faced him without flinching. She called upon her gift, striking with light to meet his shadow. Their battle raged as the army fought below, every clash shaking the heavens. But as the fight dragged on, Renji's strength faltered. His body weakened, his shadows recoiled. In Isla's eyes he saw not only defiance, but sorrow. And in that sorrow, he saw himself. A mask shattered, a truth laid there. He was never the good man the world believed, never the husband Isla deserved, only a monster pretending to be human. Renji's blade trembled in his grasp. He lowered it, not against his enemy, but against himself. With a final breath, he whispered words too faint for anyone to hear, and plunged the steel into his own chest. The fortress fell silent. The shadows dissipated into nothing. The storm broke, revealing a pale and grieving sky. Renji's reign of darkness ended not by defeat, but by his own hand. And Isla, though victorious, felt no joy. For love once lived in the shell of the man she destroyed, and love, like shadow, leaves scars that never truly fade.